Are you a fellow gamer just like me? Are you also a die-hard fan of The Legend of Zelda? If so, then you're in luck. This video is perfect for you. Hello everyone, this is Sid here and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be drawing 4 characters from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Because today, which should be March 3rd, 2026, at the time I'm posting this video, if I post it on the right day, is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's 9th anniversary, which is actually kind of crazy to think about, to be honest, because like I didn't buy the game like instantly. I bought it in like either 2019 or like 2020, so like a few years after its release, but like still pretty early on. I bought it during the pandemic because like there was literally nothing else to do 6 or 7 years ago, you know? But I just feel like this game has been such a big part of my life for like such a long time, you know? I know it's crazy to say like, this game has been such a big part of my life, but like I feel like it truly has, you know? Like some games, you play them and it's like, oh, that was fun, but just moving on casually, you know? Like nothing really important happened. But I also feel like some games you play, some books you read, because I feel like good games that have intriguing, interesting storylines are a lot like books. You play these games and like nothing is the same afterwards, you know, like your life has been changed forever, fundamentally. So that is how I feel about this game, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you've also played it, you probably already know. This game is like one of the top 10 games of like all time ever, you know? You'll see it on any list of like best video games ever. If you have not already played it, I would highly recommend going to give it a try. Especially if you were a Legend of Zelda fan, you will love this game. It's basically like an open world action adventure. There's such a cool storyline, but there's also like lots of freedom and like tons of things to explore and discover. It is like the greatest ever. But as for the actual point of this video, my drawings, I'm going to be drawing 4 characters today. I'm going to be drawing Revali, Mipha, Urbosa, and Paya. So if that sounds fun and interesting to you, then please make sure to stay tuned and stick around. And without further ado, let's get started, shall we? So basically, drawing Revali, Mipha, Urbosa, and Paya is all 4 of the main champions, minus Daruk, plus Paya. So if you have no idea what that means because you're not familiar with the game and its world building and lore and all that great stuff, basically the game has really cool world building in the fact that there is the whole entire world, you know, which is Hyrule, which I think in terms of like actual size would be like 60 by 60 miles if it was an actual real-life space. It is like a huge, massive map with like tons of places to explore and discover and all of that great stuff. But it has these different regions, you know, and each region has like an element and a race associated with it. So for instance, like the volcano region has the fire elements and a race of rock people. The mountain region has the wind element and a race of bird people. The river region has obviously the water elements and the fish people, and the desert region has the lightning elements and the warrior women race, and all of that great stuff. So each of these places, each of these elements and races has like a certain person that has that magical elemental power. They are called the champions. So when the ancient evil Ganon rises once again, as he always does, generation after generation, these champions will be able to pilot their divine beasts, which are basically like these elementally charged super weapons, to be able to defeat the ancient evil. So that's all really cool. Basically, the 4 champions, as we established earlier, are Revali of the Rito, Mipha of the Zora, Urbosa of the Gerudo, and Daruk of the Gorons. So the first character that we're going to be drawing today is Revali. And Revali is a Rito, as I said earlier. Basically, he's just like a human, but sort of like a bird at the same time. Like an anthropomorphic bird, you know? So he's like really cool. I love him so much. He has the power of the wind, so he can create what's called Revali's Gale. It's basically like a big gust that he can like summon up underneath him, like an updraft, and it allows him to sort of like fly. Even if he isn't like on top of a mountain, he can sort of like glide anywhere he wants to go, you know? And like after Link, who's the main character in The Legend of Zelda, defeats each of the bosses, he gains these powers. So Link can use his paraglider and just sort of like glide all across Hyrule, which is really cool. I think Revali's power is probably the most useful when you're like out and about exploring the overworld and stuff, because it helps you travel around a lot faster. And Tears of the Kingdom, which is the sequel to Breath of the Wild, is a great game, but It's definitely hard to travel around in that game without having Revali's skill, because if you're trying to like climb up a mountain or something, it's like just a whole lot harder, you know? So I'd say his power is definitely like really, really useful and all that great stuff. But Revali is like such a slay character. I love him so much. Apparently his voice actor is the same voice actor as Kinger from the Amazing Digital Circus.
With proper utilization of my superior skills, I see no reason why we couldn't easily dispense with Ganon.
Tactical roll! Come on, Agatha!
I literally like did not know that, and I would have never guessed, because I feel like they sound so different. But Revali is like my bestest boy, you know? Like, I love him so much. He is like super duper arrogant and self-absorbed and cocky, but I think it's adorable because, you know, characters cannot be perfect all the time. If you want to have a really good character, they have to have like a flaw that they overcome over the course of the story, you know? So Revali's flaw obviously is that he's super duper like egocentric, and he thinks that he's like the best, you know, because he is the best Rito warrior and best like archer, but he isn't the best in terms of like overall skill, and he is beaten by Link. So he thinks he should be better than Link. He's sort of pissed off that Link became the princess's like appointed knight, because that's like the most desirable position, and he sort of resents having to like work for Link and be like subservient to him and all that great stuff. So Link and Revali have a sort of like rivalry, but I think it's just really cool. I love Revali's character design as well. I'm not entirely sure like what type of bird he's supposed to be. I'm thinking maybe like an eagle, because his bow is called the Great Eagle Bow, but I know most eagles are like brown and white in my experience. I haven't really seen any like dark blue or like black eagles, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. Revali's design was a little bit of a challenge at first, because I had never really drawn like a bird character before. If I had grown up drawing like furries and stuff, it might have been easier for me, but I was having sort of a hard time trying to imagine like what it would be like drawing a bird character, you know? But it basically is easy because he does have more like human-like proportions. So I basically just swapped out his like arms for wings, you know, and gave him lots of feathers, and I made his head sort of more like pointed at the top, you know, and gave him lots of feathers up there. I gave him big like talons for feet and claws and stuff, and sort of like dreads at the back of his hair. Gave him a beak for his mouth and all that great stuff. I think it looks pretty good though. I think I did a pretty good job. This one is a great example for like the rendered versus flats, you know, because I feel like he came to life so much better in the rendered version, you know? So if you're a fellow artist out there and you just do flats, like, no. Queen, you gotta stop that. Please render your drawings, because they just look so much better and more like lively after you render them, you know? It makes such a big difference you don't even know. And yeah, but that's pretty much it for Revali. Revali is like my bestest boy. I love him so much. He's probably one of my favorite characters from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And yeah, but anyways, moving on to our next character, we have Mipha. And Mipha is a Zora, so she's basically like a fish person, sort of like a shark, to be honest. Her brother Sidon is like a hammerhead shark, I think, because he has that interesting like skull shape, you know? But Mipha is like the greatest. I love her so much. I love all of these characters, really. Like, there's not a bad character in Zelda, I don't think. Like, all of them are really well developed, and they all have great personalities and designs and all of that. But I feel like Mipha is just so sweet and adorable, you know? Like, she's super duper soft and kind and gentle, and she has like healing powers, you know? So her power is called Mipha's Grace. In The Legend of Zelda, the way that you gauge like your health and stamina, there's like a stamina wheel and like heart containers, which you can see like on the side of your screen how much health you have. So like if an enemy hits you, you may lose like 3 or 4 hearts or something like that. And like the more challenges you overcome, the more hearts you can get, you know? So like over the course of the game, obviously the enemies become stronger, but like in turn you can gain more hearts and like have more health. You can also like cook meals and stuff to like replenish your hearts and all that great stuff, and like brew potions and all of that. And yeah, but Mipha's Grace power is like if you get low on hearts, it'll like regenerate all of your hearts, but you can't use this like indefinitely, obviously. So like it runs out every like 30 or 40 minutes, and it has to like recharge, you know, to keep you from sort of like being overpowered. But it is super duper helpful if you're in like a tight pinch and just need like an extra boost of health, you know? And yeah, Mipha is just like such a cute little character though. It said that she had a crush on Link. I don't know if Link feels the same way, because Link has like so many potential suitors characters in this game, and it's like actually kind of funny. Like, Link and Zelda obviously are the main pairing. Link and Mipha is pretty popular. Link and Paya, I don't know if Link likes Paya per se, but Paya definitely has something for Link, you know? Link and Pyrrha, this is more like a fan-made ship, but I think they would be pretty cute together. My personal pairing that I think would be cute is Link and Riju. I love Riju so much. I would have drawn her in this video, but she's more of a main character in Tears of the Kingdom, and this video is mostly based on Breath of the Wild, obviously, since it is like the anniversary of that game. And yeah, but Mipha is just so adorable. I love her so much. It's pretty sad that like Mipha and Revali and Urbosa didn't really get that much spotlight in Tears of the Kingdom, but it is good that her memory and legacy sort of lives on through her younger brother Sidon. Sidon is great. I love him so much, y'all. But as for Mipha's actual character design, basically, as I said earlier, she is a Zora, so she is like a fish person slash shark, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. The Zora come in all sorts of different colors and stuff, so she and her brother Sidon are both red, although her father is blue, so I'm not sure like if her mother was red and that's why they're both red, or like if it just doesn't really matter, but they have really nice like white underbelly and then like red coloring, you know? So yeah, but Mipha also has like bright blue fins and stuff and yellow frills, which look nice and long and flowy and give her that like aquatic type feel. And for her like actual outfit and stuff, she basically wears very light clothing. She's honestly low-key kind of naked. So I tried to give her a little bit more clothing in my picture because I didn't want to draw like all of her details, you know. But she has like a nice blue ribbon or like sash going across her chest because obviously like her champion colors are her blue and all of that, so she has to wear her champion's garb. And she also has like some armor and pieces that are like silver and go across like her wrists and stuff and her chest and all of that. And she also has like some ornamental jewelry on her head and all of that great stuff. In general, Mipha's outfit and just like her character design as a whole is very like elegant and graceful, which I feel perfectly encapsulates her personality and vibe. And yeah, but anyways, let's move on to the next character once again, and this character is going to be Urbosa. Urbosa is like such a slay. She is like the definition of a strong female character, which I know obviously like strong female characters are really overdone, so that's not the greatest. A lot of the time strong female characters are just like basically a man in female clothing, so they like literally don't have any personality other than like brute muscle and pure power, you know? But I feel like Urbosa sort of breaks that norm because you can definitely tell like with her relationship with Zelda, you know? She is sort of like a motherly figure towards her after Zelda's actual mother passed away. She was really good friends with the Queen of Hyrule, so she sort of took like Zelda and is trying to like help her become a better woman, you know, and like find her true path. Zelda suffers a lot with like insecurity and feeling like she's not good enough, so Urbosa definitely helps her a lot with like, no, you are good enough, you know, like there's only so much you can do, you're trying your best. So yeah, but I really like Urbosa's like power, you know, it's called Urbosa's Fury. As I said earlier, like the Gerudo, they live in the desert and that is like the region of the lightning power, so she can basically like snap her fingers and cause a lightning bolt to come out of the sky, killing all enemies within like a certain radius, you know. It is like a really cool power, and it's definitely effective if you're trying to like kill your enemy and get lots of their health to go down. Not only does it get lots of their health to go down, but it also like stuns them for a while, so like they'll be frozen for like a good 5 or 10 seconds. You can just like hit them repeatedly throughout that time. And yeah, so it's definitely like a super useful power for like combat, you know, and all of that great stuff. I feel like all the powers from Breath of the Wild are a lot better than the powers from Tears of the Kingdom. I can't even really remember what Riju's power was from Tears of the Kingdom, but I know it was a lot worse than Urbosa's power from Breath of the Wild. And yeah, but I think Urbosa's character design is really cool. All Gerudo have like a similar makeup, to be honest. Like a lot of the Rito have like different variants of design, you know, like there's certain colors and like body types and like different different feather shapes and all that great stuff to make the Rito like distinctive and unique, and like there's different color Zoras as well, but all Gerudo for the most part have tan skin, muscular bodies, and bright red hair, which I love because I love gingers, but their hair is like a whole new level. Sometimes it even looks pink, and some Gerudo have like a lighter pink hair, but most of them have like red hair like this, which I think looks really nice. But Urbosa has these beautiful green eyes, and she has this really cool outfit, you know. Lots of them have like a breastplate for their armor and then like shoulder pads, and they wear sort of like a scarf around their waist, which I think looks pretty cool. She has a blue scarf because all the champions have like a blue accent. I didn't mention it on Revali or Mipha, but Revali has a blue scarf and Mipha has like a blue sash across her waist, and they basically just have their divine beast. So Urbosa's divine beast is Va Boris, which is the camel right there. Mipha's divine beast is Va Ruta, which is the elephant, and Revali's divine beast is Va Mado, which is the bird right there. So basically all these divine beasts correspond to like their area. Obviously you'd have like a camel in a desert area, and it might make sense to have like an elephant in a marshy river type area, you know? So yeah, but I also just love like the floral pattern across her chest. It looks really cool, and I love her little like heels. Like fighting in heels is such like a feminine touch, but it just makes it look so cool. And yeah, I just love like the whole desert vibe. I don't really know why. I feel like there's sort of like an Egyptian inspiration to a lot of the Gerudo designs, and I like it a lot because as a kid I was sort of like obsessed with ancient Egypt, and I still kind of am to this day. It's just like such a really cool vibe and all that great stuff, like such an aesthetic, you know? And yeah, but anyways, that's pretty much all that I have to say about Urbosa. And our last character who we're going to be drawing today, since I don't want to draw Daruk. Not that I don't like Daruk, because I love Daruk just as much as anyone else does, but I just feel like it's hard to draw like a rock, you know? Like for all these other characters I knew like where to start, you know? Like even though Revali is a bird and Mipha is a shark, basically, like at least I knew sort of like where I should begin with that. But like I was just thinking about Daruk's design over and over and I was like, I don't even know like where to start with this guy, you know? So I decided to draw Paya instead, and Paya is really cute, so I'm glad that I decided to draw her. But you might be thinking like, well, Paya just looks like a normal person. Basically, Paya is part of the Sheikah tribe, and the Sheikah are basically like normal Hylians, you know? They have like pale skin, and they often have like white hair, which is pretty interesting because even if they're not very old, they have like white hair. But they're basically a race that has like insane knowledge, you know, both of the past and of the future, you know? So they're like a historically based tribe. They like collect lots of information about like the past and like the ancient times and all that great stuff, but they also have like amazing technologies, and they're like a highly advanced civilization. So like all the war weapons and machinery, like the divine beast and the guardians, were all created by the Sheikah. And they also created like the Shrine of Resurrection, which Link uses to like restore from battle wounds, and they also created like the Trial of the Sword, I think, and the 5th divine beast. They created all of that stuff even long before the modern day. They created that stuff like 10,000 years before the story starts, which is wild, you know? Like they are a highly advanced civilization, but Paya is a member of that civilization. As we mentioned earlier, she does have a little crush on Link. I don't know if it's like requited or not, but it is pretty adorable seeing how like love-struck she is for Link. And yeah, but Paya is basically the granddaughter of the current chief of the Sheikah, who is Impa, which is pretty interesting because Impa was actually Link's age during the time of the Great Calamity. It's just that like when Link had to go and be in the Shrine of Resurrection for 100 years, he stayed the same age, and everyone else around him grew a lot older. So like I don't know if she could just like can live to be really old, or like if it's just a whole thing across Hyrule, because I know that Zora aged very slowly, because I know Link was like a toddler and Mipha was like the same age that she is right now, and she met him. Kind of cringe, but I don't know. Gorons are probably older too. I don't know about Rito, but it's pretty interesting thinking like Impa must be like at least 118 years old if I were to guess. but she doesn't look a day over 80, you know? Like, she looks pretty decent, I have to say. And yeah, obviously not as good as Pyrrha because Pyrrha undid her aging, so she became younger again. But Impa, she looking pretty good. But anyways, I think her character design is just so cute, you know? She has, obviously, as I said earlier, silvery gray hair with the nice bangs across the top. They have these cute little buns that they do and like little hair side accessories, and they have like little chopsticks in their hair and like red hair ties, and she has the Sheikah eye on her forehead. It's an important thing to have the Sheikah eye and not the Yiga eye, which is sort of like an inverted eye, to show that you're on the good side, you know, because the Yiga, like Master Koga and his henchman Suga, are very evil. They're worshippers of Ganon and Ganondorf, but they're really funny too, like very silly little guys. They love their bananas, all of that great stuff. But the Sheikah are like a very virtuous and like righteous race, and the Yiga, you know, are like very suspicious and mischievous and all that great stuff. So we want to make sure that we're on the right side. She has these nice like robes of beige and like lots of navy underneath with like red accents and all that great stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. She has this nice like black belt with this nice little eye on it, as I said earlier, and once again she has like little red bows and nice brown shoes and lots of golden jewelry and all that great stuff. So I think she's pretty cute in general. And anyways, here are all of my characters. So I had a really fun time drawing all these Zelda characters. They brought back great memories of me playing the game. Sometimes I do go and like just play the game for fun, you know, or like do another run through, you know, with like specific goals. Like sometimes I run through trying to like get everything like 100% complete. Sometimes I try to run through and like do like a little speed run, you know, to see how fast I can complete the game and all that great stuff. But nothing is the same as playing the game for the first time, you know. I'm one of those people, like, I don't usually reread books because I feel like nothing is the same as reading that book for the first time. It's sort of a similar thing for like video games, you know. So like the first time I played this game, it was like such an insane experience, and I know I'll never forget it for as long as I live. And yeah, but anyways, as I said earlier, if you are a video gamer and if you love video games, then like I would highly recommend checking out this one, especially if you're a Zelda person and you're a Zelda fan. I would highly recommend, because this game is just so good. And yeah, but anyways, I hope that y'all guys all enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. It always helps me out so much when you do, and I really appreciate it. If you want to take your support from me as an artist and a creative even further, then please go click the links in the description box down below. This will take you to my other social media accounts, like my Instagram accounts and all that great stuff. I have a lot less followers on there, so each and every one of y'all would mean so much to me. And yeah, but anyways, I hope that y'all guys all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you on the next video. Always remember that I love you, and goodbye, eat some more waffles, and peace out, Girl Scouts!